Welcome back, everybody, to Coneheads.
Back?
I know, dude. It's been a long time. But this is Coneheads, and this is going to be a podcast about Madoka Magica. Or Modoka. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. That's what I call it.
Modoka.
And with us today...
Or that Japanese word.
And with us today is...
Dr. J.
Carlos.
And Chris over here.
The Phantom.
A guest.
The Spectre in the corner.
And me, Jared. So...
The ghost of Cubey.
The ghost of Cubey.
Don't worry, you'll get that joke in a minute.
So let's go over kind of the rough outline of this anime.
This thing
that
we call
it's an amazing thing.
This is one of Carlos's favorite animes?
Of course. Actually, I think I have made it my absolute favorite anime.
Top? Really?
Yeah.
So you would say Madoka Squidbillies,
King of the Hill,
and Dragon Ball Z.
I will end your existence. No. But, Madoka, what can I say?
Well,
it's basically like... How do I put it?
It's a magical girl show?
Yeah, it's a magical girl show, but it's so much more than that. Yes. And it sounds bad on paper when you talk about it.
You can talk, Chris. You don't have to pantomime.
I'm the offside editor, alright?
Okay.
I edit Carlos's words, and then he says it, so I don't have to.
Okay.
Anyways.
So, it lives under the guise of a magical girl
show.
Yeah.
I guess the real correct genres it goes after is dark fantasy, horror, psychological.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But it's disguised as a magical girl show, and it's what they call a deconstruction. Several animes do this. If anybody's ever seen School Days, they know this. What
is that deconstruction of?
Slice of life.
No, slice of life
okay.
animes.
Your favorite stuff,
and
but yet
taste.
you hate it.
And what?
And good taste.
And good taste. That makes sense.
Deconstruction, not destruction.
It's a harbinger of the end of the world.
Hey, it's no pupa.
This is the way not to act as a human being.
Yeah.
We're getting off track.
Okay.
Way off track.
So what's the story
about? For just new to anime, it's kind of like Sailor Moon, but dark. Like if they just went a dark path.
If they're new to anime, they don't know Sailor Moon.
It's like they took Sailor Moon, then hit it with the cement truck that is reality.
Yeah.
Pretty much, exactly that. Yeah.
So they're like, what happens if magical girls
you know what? What if they really happen in the real world? What if reality fucking struck? Maybe you can't win every battle. Yeah. Maybe
someone's gonna get hurt. Someone will die.
Somebody's gonna die.
There's consequences to your actions.
Exactly.
Unlike kind of Shonen Jump kind of way, like you just.
It's like
someone's gonna come back, and you're like, oh hey, welcome back.
Yeah, it's like somebody gets hurt, and then but you still win. You still beat the bad guy in the end. Yeah. No, that's not how Madoka works at all, and that's the beauty of it. Is that it takes this seemingly innocent genre and then just makes it incredibly amazing. And that's why it's my favorite. It's because the writing is amazing, the animation, the music, everything's great. Voice acting, both dubbed and subbed.
That's rare for Carlos.
Yeah,
he absolutely hates dubbed.
I hate dubbed, but the dub did it complete justice. Perfect. Like, every character sounds exactly how they're supposed to. Like, there's nothing sounds weird. Like, none of the when you transition, you could transition and not even think about it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Exactly, because I watched both of them, subbed with you and then dubbed with Joseph.
And you didn't even realize
I didn't even realize.
Yeah. It's great like that.
That's like me with Bleach.
And
I can't stand it,
A quick side note, if you've watched our reviews, we reviewed Makaku City Actors by Shaft, and this is also
by
Shaft.
They also do the Monogatari series, which is really good. It's, for me, Shaft animation. If you want good animation, go to Shaft. If you want good action, go to Trigger.
Yeah.
Is it always the same animators too?
I'm not sure, but they
because their animation in that show is top notch.
Yeah, and they have like certain I don't know, go-to styles that they'll use every time. Like on the Monogatari series, they have this thing where they zoom up on a person's face and he kind of lifts it up. It's kind of weird to explain, but they do that in Macaco City Actors too.
Yes, they're good at at visual effects.
Yeah, okay. And they have that style where it kind of looks like they blend the real world with the animation. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, you know.
There's always levels to their animation.
Yeah. They're very innovative. They try things, and they're very stylistic, very artsy.
Yeah, and
very sleek as well.
They're heavy on dialogue.
Yeah,
but usually stuff's going on during the dialogue. Yeah, so it's like an art film or something.
It's like the witch scenes in Madoka. It's you've got just the city and you've got the regular anime style, and then it just all completely breaks down.
The closest thing I can compare it to is if you ever seen a Chowder from Cartoon Network, where it blends real quilt or whatever, and brings it into the anime or the cartoon.
You could just say Picasso on LSD and they get it.
Yeah, basically, yeah. No, the witch scenes, yeah, that's a big major point. A lot of people, when I first watched this, the first thing I watched it on Annie Links the first time, and on the comment section, for the first top comments is, what the hell, did they just get on LSD? Because the witch scenes are trippy. And they're supposed to be, though. They're the witch labyrinths.
Well, because I wasn't even really interested in it. I was like, oh, schoolgirl. And then, Carlson and I have very different tastes in anime, so he recommends me, and I tend to be a little wary. But then I saw the action scenes with the witches and stuff. And, I'm a big fan of animation and outside-the-box stuff, and that really drew me in.
Yeah. Well, what I think they're trying to do is that animation for the witches and stuff is to make you disoriented, the witches are trying to do to them when they're fighting them.
Yeah, it's supposed to be unsettling.
I always looked at it like it was a girl's fantasy world.
Really twisted.
Yeah, but when you see girls in school with their notebooks they used to have with it looks just like their notebooks.
But see, the thing is each witch is different.
If you pay attention, it's effed
up. Each witch, they have their own theme,
Yeah, that's what I like too. That was very interesting.
And you could kind of just by going by the witch's labyrinth, you could kind of tell what they were about. This perfect example would be episode 3, the Sweets Witch, and it was filled with nothing but how do I put it? Primal pleasures, because it wasn't just treats and sweets. There was also pills and other things like that.
Okay. Well, spoilers, first of all. But that's a good thing, because you later find out they were magical girls.
Yes.
And girls love sweets. And then you can kind of get a feel for what that magical girl was all about.
Even the witches, they have that primal innocence, that basic need, and that's what all the witches are springing from, some base desire just that got way out of hand.
Yeah.
Yep. And it usually is from whatever wish their powers are based upon, whatever wish they made with Kyubey, the worst.
Best character ever?
The worst best character ever.
Most puntable.
So Kyubey, the villain of this series.
Not really the villain. Not even
Let's go back to Sailor Moon, where the cat was usually the guardian or kind of the
parental. Card Capture Sakura had the weird little
cone. Cone before cone.
Yeah. What was his name?
What is that thing?
It's like a lion bear thing that flies around.
But it compacts to a lemur's eye or a ferret's eyes.
Oh, what is his name? I can't remember.
But anyway, it's
it's the Navi.
Yeah.
Have you ever played Zelda? You got the little thing that follows you around and kind of helps lead the way.
It's the little random magical creature that follows them and guides them.
It's supposed to be the thing you trust.
Yeah, exactly. The problem is that it doesn't actually have that natural humans are the best, because it's realistic. It's out for its own needs, and its needs may not always coincide with what
the humans desire.
And in this, its interest is to almost harvest the magical girls.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Harvest the energy of the emotions.
Yeah.
Which from its viewpoint is perfectly, reasonable,
logical,
and honorable. Yeah.
It's kind of what you would call like a Faust type play, because they have to make a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like the devil standing on your...
Basically. I mean, he very much alludes... He doesn't tell them the consequences, and obviously it's very, it's playing to little girls, telling them, oh, well, I'm this magical being, I can give you these awesome powers, and you can be good and righteous and fight these bad evil witches, and save the world from chaos and
it's like what Joseph's saying. It's like the devil, basically, because he tells you the best of what the deal is, but he kind of leaves out
it's major lawyer speak.
It
leaves out the fine print.
Leaves out very much the fine print.
That's what bothered me like the whole time I was watching it. He'd be hey, Magic, or what's her name? Modoka, why don't you use your,
You can make a contract with me now.
That person...
The whole time! And I was like, shut up!
That person will die if you make the contract.
Make a contract with me.
Now! I'm sorry.
No!
And the cutesy voice that it had was really the thing that set up, because it didn't, most of the times when you have the devil or they're always, they can be charismatic, but they always have that mask. And this was like this small, effeminate little creature, and it was just pulling the strings the whole time.
Well, we had a friend who watched
parts of it.
Yeah, watching parts. And as soon as he saw that thing, he's like, evil.
And
I don't think that's what the anime wanted you to think. Was it
the close-up zoom to the eyes every time you saw it?
Yeah, probably that. He's got kind of like that.
And more observant people notice that, because, the
like, when I was watching it with Carlos, I was like, that thing's going to be evil. And he's like, how'd you know that? And I was like, because they zoomed up on his face.
Yeah, and they do that a lot throughout the entire series. They'll have stuff that maybe you don't notice it at first. More observant people will. But it's like, you go back and you notice, and you're like, okay, this was something they were going on about from the first episode. Yeah. You could see this coming if you knew what you were looking for.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it's like real subtle hints here and there.
And that's, I don't know. The story is very well put together. It's very obvious the story was well thought out long, before it was ever animated or anything. It's like several animes I've watched, it's like they had no real direction.
You can tell they're making it up as they go.
Yeah, that's...
Kill a Kill.
Kill a Kill.
Even though, spoiler, they kind of have the same plot. It's still close when it sucks the essence out of the world.
Anyways.
But we gotta say, we're concentrating on the series basically because that's all I've seen.
Yeah.
They've seen the movies. Which
there's a movie and it really
well, if you
does amazing.
It just continues the story, right?
It continues the story, but in my mind, it brings it back full circle and completes the whole
cycle.
What they were wanting, and the way I see it. Chris completely disagrees with me because he thinks it was out of left field.
Carlos, he was like, no, Carlos was satisfied.
It does make sense.
For me, I found it unsettling. I was like, it's especially after watching everything else, I was like, this cannot end well, was my thought, which Carlos had the exact opposite thought. He was like, yes, cool. It's just, because it can leave you just slightly disturbed at the end.
Yeah.
It kind of fulfills that whole. I don't want to say too much, obviously, because
we're getting into major, for people that have seen the series.
Yeah, he's seen the series, but I don't want to ruin it for him.
But you were saying with Cuba, if you're a very observant person or kind of pay attention, you can kind of guess where it's gonna go.
Where you can kind of
it does leave you disturbed, but you could guess, especially with the deconstruction, that it would lead to this outcome.
What's the girl with the glasses and the dark hair?
Yeah.
I forgot her name.
Homura?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't even introduce the characters. Hold on. We need to back up for a second.
Let's go to characters next.
Okay.
The base thing.
The series revolves mostly specifically around Madoka, obviously named by the name in the beginning, the title.
But,
I don't feel that way. I don't feel like she was the main character. She's like the MacGuffin almost.
I think
it does do a big.
I think he does this whole at the beginning she's the primary,
yeah,
and then it shifts through to everyone else's story, but then at the end it pulls back around to her because especially with that last episode,
in the series, yes, but I mean the movie has a very obvious. Obvious
if we're going to look at just the series and the deconstructing, it might be like if Sailor Moon was in the real world Serena or Usagi.
Yeah. Usagi,
she would not be the one that saves the day.
Yeah,
no, because she's always a
coward. Sure, she's pure and innocent, but she wouldn't be smart enough to figure out
No, but okay, y'all have seen the whole Sailor Moon series, right? I mean, she does become.
She matures when she's older.
Same thing with Madoka. Yeah, and it's I think the show does a really good job of giving everyone the spotlight.
Yeah.
Anyways, next characters would be the next would be Homura. Homura would be the next main focus because she shows up in
the Sailor Mars of the.
Always the spiciest lady.
She's the sixth ranger.
She's like Homura
with you, but you won't like it.
Yeah, she's the standoffish.
Yeah. Homura is very quiet, cold, and very much portrayed as the villain.
You find out why in later episodes.
She's very, like you said, the Green Ranger.
Yeah, near the end, she does become a major protagonist as well. Just the others.
Very comes off as cold, very brutal. Has no problem threatening the other's life.
Opposite of Mami, who's
yes. Next person we should suggest would be Mami Tomoe. She.
I didn't. Yeah, same with.
We both hated that character.
She's like the mom of the group. She's just real nice.
She's very sweet, and she's an extremely powerful magical girl.
She's the most experienced.
Yeah.
She was the most experienced, but she was gifted very well with her abilities because even Kyubey admits that her abilities were.
And they all have special abilities, right?
Yes,
like
Kyoko.
Muskets.
Yeah.
Well,
no, but can't one heal faster and one can?
Oh yes. Well, I mean, they all have the special things because of
their predicament.
Yeah, depending on their wish.
Before the twist, I guess I was kind of leaning to her being a bad guy.
Mummy,
because it seemed like she knew more than the rest of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and plus, you kind of have that hankering with the whole Kyubey thing, and she's really nice with Kyubey and really, comfortable with him. Buddy. So, yeah, I could see that, but I mean, and she's really goody-goody. You just kind of you kind of feel like she's a little too goody-goody.
There's got to be something there.
I was, I don't know, I never suspected, I honestly just thought she was innocent. I mean, granted, I don't know how someone that innocent becomes that good a shot with a musket. Because those things are not accurate.
Well, she was a pirate once, but no.
She had those 50 years in the past. But that's the off-season.
No, I mean, she...
back in middle school.
You also got to think that those were magical muskets. And even her bullets weren't technically real bullets. They were you can see them in the movie. And they're
They were
they were gems, basically. Yeah. It was weird.
Yeah, they weren't just regular musket ones.
Yeah.
And that ribbon at first.
And then...
Lord.
And her ribbon abilities.
And then probably the blue one.
Sayaka Miki.
That was my favorite character.
Yeah.
Sayaka Miki, she was in the series.
Mercury, yeah.
In the series, she kind of goes through a very big mind break.
She gets corrupted.
She goes through a very big mind break.
There's a lot of personal development, but not in the good way.
Yeah. She had the most development, but it wasn't.
Just watch the movie.
She's
great.
Great.
That's my favorite.
I also liked her design the best. Art style and everything.
Okay, but I'm sorry, disagree with all y'all.
Okay.
Favorite character, Kyoko Sakura.
Everybody hates
She is
That's just your type in anime.
She's tsundere. No. Just tell everybody right now.
She is
tsundere without the dairy. She's just Tsun.
Okay. But see, the beautiful thing is she does have a deep character to this that y'all are ignoring.
No, I don't ignore it. It's just
deep character that y'all are ignoring, and that she will basically.
I'm not. Wow, that was great. I'm not ignoring it. No, I'm not. I'm saying I know she has. Just like all of them, they have actual stories behind them and stuff. It's not an excuse for her behavior all the time. It's.
Her story, personally, I think is the most fucked up.
Yeah, I think they've all been through a lot, but the way they handle it is what really proves they come from. She handles it in a very negative fashion, so I don't like. I mean, I'm not saying she's bad. I'm just saying her personality.
She's self-destructive.
Let me put it this way. In my mind, she matured the fastest because she had to. Because because of the decision that she made, literally killed her family.
Yeah.
In the most twisted way possible, but
I don't know if you would call it maturing faster. I think she just got jaded faster.
I'll say
jaded.
I will say that the way she handled it was actually considering the situation, she handled it very well. She turned out all right. She didn't have any major issues, long lasting.
She just knew that it was for her. Yeah, she couldn't live.
She just became self sufficient, and she was able to do that. So exactly. I will applaud her for that. But she has no social skills whatsoever. No.
And the reason, and see, but the beauty.
And if you want to know Carlos's character, it's always the person with the fang, because it's usually the delinquent in the anime.
The one most likely to lift her.
The mischievous fang they always put on the anime characters.
Yeah.
Anywho, she's an amazing character. I don't care what y'all say.
Nah, she's a good character. She's
not my favorite.
Yeah.
And I think her character does the best change of all, because unlike Sayako, who went from a good person to
she does
fucking break. Eventually,
both of them. That's a very good equality.
He hasn't seen it yet. So.
Equality.
And then there's Madoka.
What is there to say about Madoka?
Did we already talk about it?
We introduced her to Madoka. She's the naive one.
Yes.
She's the weak one.
She's very innocent. You can tell she's had nothing but a good life. Her family is perfect.
They look like kids, but
they do look like kids.
Her mother and father are
they're together.
They love each other, obvious, very, very much. There's no real stress in her life.
See, that was always my thought. She's a very old-fashioned kind of just effeminate person, but then you look at her family, and her family's, especially for
very progressive.
Very progressive. The mother's the one that goes out and works. The father stays at home, takes care of the kids.
Her mother's working to become the CEO. Her father doesn't work. He's a stay-at-home dad to take care of her brother Tatsuya.
I always had a theory that her mom was a magical girl.
Yes, when I saw it too, when she was talking in that bar or whatever.
Oh, when she's talking with the teacher and she refers to her as Junko.
Yeah.
You kind of realize,
I always thought that,
I thought that'd be really cool if they touched on that too. The older generation.
Enough animes do that, like Bleach.
Yeah.
And
let's see.
Everybody
Bleach with Ichigo and the dad.
I wouldn't want them to get into costume.
You're just
see, really? The whole problem with that big theory, the worst problem with that theory though is every magical girl dies.
Yeah.
It's the cycle.
But I didn't know that at the time.
Maybe that's why they teased at that, so you thought there was this big hope. A lot of the things the
only thing I really made me realize is that they obviously knew each other from when they were younger, much younger. What instantly came into my mind is obviously her teacher is an old friend from high school or younger. Of her mother.
She's weird.
We're gonna have to do a section on the teacher because the teacher is amazing.
Real fast with Madoka, to finish up with her, I just want to say it was very interesting to me that she didn't even get her powers till almost the end.
Yeah, because
literally the last episode.
That's why I still think she has probably the least character development because throughout the series she's still the same, the shrinking violet of the group. She's very. And she doesn't ever quite, but then at the end she does, and it's done
she
well.
Sits back, and then everything that happens, literally in almost
forces
an instant,
her to make that decision.
Yeah, it's almost in an instant she becomes something far more grander. As far as character development.
Yes, but it never really felt like it was her. It was literally just her reacting. Yeah. Which, no, I will admit, it was amazing, especially the ending. That is what made the show. It's an amazing ending. But you go back and you think about it logically, the only reason she did that was because of everything else pushing her into it. It wasn't like she could just be like...
It wasn't her decision.
It was the decision she had to make.
Yes.
Yes and no. I agree with that, but the thing is
she did have that big no section at the end, like at the very end. You know, it's like, oh, this is going to end badly for you. Then she's like, nope. Yeah. So okay, I'll give her points for that.
She basically over the time of spending with the other magical girls, you know, got to see all their things without actually having to experience them herself. Mm. She realized that, you know, the mistakes that they made, you know, and she learned from all of them. And that's what the whole thing is about, is that she sat back, learned everything that she needed to know to make a proper decision on what she thought would be right.
Yeah.
And
well, if you're going to sign your soul away, basically, you want to know it's for a good reason.
Yeah, and she sat back and she got to know every dark secret of the soul gem. She got to know every, you know, every cost, every price, you know.
Even that wasn't her decision. It was because of Homuro's pushing.
Yeah.
Homuro kept pushing her to not do it, period, and keep her shelter away from everything.
Kept her from doing it until
this is true.
It's basically the whole, like, trying to prevent Armageddon is worse than just letting it happen, because usually it's you that is going to start it. It's your actions that will put that into effect.
Yeah.
So basically, her power was empathy.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the thing, and that was maybe what made that ending so powerful, because the whole time throughout the series, she's literally just a reactionary character. She's not a deep but well thought character. She's very generic, shrinking violet character. She's very sweet. She's very nice. She's a great person, but her characterization is not very strong until the end, when everything happens. She is forced to make that. You're just like,
it's like Mass Effect. If you didn't get to play anything, you just had to watch everything happen, and then at the end they make you a joke.
It's Mass Effect 2. If you didn't make any decisions up to the end, then they're like, by the way, this whole crew is on your.
Yeah. Now choose what you do.
Wait, what? Shit.
I like that one scene where it's, you know how Hamura always has to go through that kind of Groundhog Day kind of thing.
Yes.
The one where Modoka is just, when she becomes a witch, basically destroys like all of Earth.
All of Earth. Within a few hours.
Yeah. And Cube is just in awe of like her power that she's gained, and that's why she's so powerful. Or like,
much pain over so long a time.
Yeah.
Speaking of those scenes, like, I really like Tamura before she became all jaded. I understand why she got jaded.
Yeah, it's like the original Hamura character. And and it's funny.
I disagree. She's just
like Madoka. When she first starts
off, she's basically Madoka over again, you know.
But that's why I still think Madoka had because Hamura, who started out like that, she changed over time. It shows.
Yeah.
Let's explain like when first Homura, like her very first like form, I guess. She's wearing glasses. She's kind of klutzy. She's very shy.
She's been in the hospital for months upon months. She's very
shy.
Weak.
Yeah.
She has little social skills, you know.
Yeah.
And she thinks nothing of her.
Very innocent. Like she still has her innocence.
She's a little lamb.
Yeah.
And I like
she's adorable as all fucking get out, but
yeah, I really like those flashback scenes and how that she just comes to devote herself to Modoka.
Oh, it's a very powerful thing because it just shows you what she goes through, you know, what she literally makes you feel every time she loses Modoka, and it hurts every time.
And she's so obsessed; it's slowly corrupting her, slowly eating at her, almost like her. What am I trying to say? Yes. Like her decisions, like
everything she does is just going back against her.
Yeah, and then
everything the butterfly.
Every time she comes back, she pushes everyone just farther away.
Yeah,
and loses a little more of herself. Like she loses the glasses, the braids, her shyness, and she just becomes a whole completely different character.
Yeah, but I mean, to do what she needed to do, she was willing to sacrifice everything, and that's what she did. That's what she did, and that's what she wanted to do, you know? She was willing to sacrifice everything just to save
for
her.
this friend, because Madoka in her first version was her first friend.
Yes.
Yeah, and she's a lot more confident in those flashbacks.
Madoka?
Yeah. Like, she brings everyone together.
And it's funny, is because, like, the first time, I remember, going back on the details, the first time I watched it, Hamura comes into class, and then she's like, oh, I need to go to the nurses now. And then she went to the nurses, and Monica was just sort of following her. It's like the first time you see it, you're like, oh, that's weird. That's what's going on. But then the second time you watch it, if you go back and watch it, because it's definitely something that, if you've seen it once, it's, it's like Fight Club or anything. You go back and you watch it again, and there's all these little...
Yeah.
It's almost like really, really more like Easter eggs. So you go back and you watch it, and you're like, this, how was it, it's this obvious, how did I not realize it before?
Exactly.
Yeah. Because she does, it's,
Like, yeah, definitely. It's a series that you want to watch more than once. I mean, watching it at least 2-3 times is not out of the question. I mean, definitely to really understand.
Carlos, how many times have you seen it?
Where
are we going on, like 9?
Yeah, probably like 9-10 times.
Do you, like, watch the series, watch the movie, and then go, like, complete circle?
I love how all our... Well, I'm not sure about you, Chris, but all our favorite animes are usually the shorter ones. Like, me and Joseph is Fully Cooley. Oh, yeah. His is only Madoka, and it's only 12 episodes long.
And a movie, that's it.
Ananatsu de Mataru's... I think that one's a 24.
See, but that's the thing with animes, is like a truly good story
has a beginning and an end.
Yeah, has a beginning and an end, and it has to be already all planned out. Like, and the anime, if you think about all those animes, it never felt once lost or something that didn't have to
redundant.
Yeah, it didn't have to, wasn't there for a reason.
Yeah. Do you guys mind if I get a little off topic here?
No, go ahead.
Well, it's because the industry itself. There's two different ways. There's the ones that you have an established artist, an established manga group, organization, whatever they're called, or somebody that the company has a lot of faith in, and they'll sign them for a specific run of things for a specific series. Say they'll do 24 books or something, and they have a set story, and they go in and they do those because they don't have to worry about selling after that because they've already got that deal. And then you've got the people that come in off the street that they're like, well, we'll try you for a trial run. We'll see how you do in the ratings in these magazines or stuff. And you'll keep going as long as you're successful. And those ones that tend to be the ones like, the Bleach or, the other ones that you can notice at certain points. One, they do end up running a lot longer.
Yeah.
Because they stay on as long as they're successful.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they tend to lose their way and don't really know. And so you'll hit points where the tone will completely change based on the interest.
And you need to fill those episodes, so you're not going to be focused on the story every episode. You're going to have to go off on a tangent.
It's perfect to see, like, Dragon Ball, where it was a journey into the West.
Yeah,
and then Dragon Ball Z,
where it was like, let's start. And you'll notice that sometimes there'll be, and you can even tell this in anime, like with the Bleach stuff, the tone shifted, especially between the first series and the second. It went from being sort of like this almost ghost story,
detective,
sort of thing,
until they realized Dragon Ball Z-esque kind of just fighter kind of show.
Yeah, into a straight show, and that's because they do it and they get response from the viewers, and unfortunately, and I say this unfortunately, a lot of people really love Bleach. I loved the first part of Bleach way better. The original incarnation of Bleach was what sold me on it, and the viewers of the original manga, they came back and they said, hey, we want it to be more shonen. So the artist...
I think that's what me and you are different. Because the original one, when I first watched it, I didn't like it.
Really?
Like, I was like, I've seen this. It's Yu Yu Hakusho almost. See, you have to purify the spirits.
Yeah.
But then it became more Dragon Ball Z-esque, where it's just fighting. Becoming more powerful, training. Shonen, I love.
Shonen is a good genre. I
love long form anime.
I love both.
Really.
I'm not a big fan of. I mean, there are niches. Bleach, Dragon Ball Z for me, and those I do.
The long form anime, and that's why they tend to be very popular. The reason that they're running so long is because they are popular. Good. They are done well, and the people enjoy them, and they give the crowd what they want.
Yeah.
It's one of those animes that you can just watch and you know that there's you're still going to be watching this.
Well, that's why you appreciate the shorter ones, because it tells its story.
Yeah, because you watch it, you get the filler, you watch like a bunch of other ones.
It's the difference between, say, like, and and I'm sorry, I'm going to do the Joss Whedon thing and compare. It's the villain a day. Mm-hmm. You know, like say Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you know, shows like that where they have the villain a day, and it's literally just to give you your bite of enjoyment, your meal, satisfying, great, you know, and then the next week they've got another villain, and you know they'll have overarching plots.
It's like Inuyasha. It would be like serious episode. Two funny ones, serious episode. Two funny ones.
You've got the overarching plot, you got the main, but you've also got like the little stories that they just sort of. So you do have that nice resolution per thing, versus something, you know, like the short form stories, which really there's no resolution to the end. That's why they have to be shorter. Because if there's no resolution for 400 episodes, it would drive you insane. It's like watching Lost. Nobody liked Lost by the end of it.
Lost.
I like
by
Lost.
the end of it?
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of patience.
I didn't like the last episode.
How did you understand any of it? No, don't explain.
You gotta...
This isn't the Lost test.
Okay, we're good.
But, if we go back to Modoka, and the structure
no,
with
that's a good tangent, thank you.
I have to say that probably out of all of us, I enjoyed it the least. I haven't seen the movie yet, so maybe
reserve your judgment till you see the movie, because everything's
he's saying out of the group he enjoyed it. He's not saying he didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
He's just saying he is the least adamant about how awesome
he's not Carlos Love of it.
We could do a show just like Kill la Kill versus this, and I could argue the merits of Kill la Kill over this.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make you happy, Carlos, but
I'm probably
in no sense of the word, but
the first time I watched it, I didn't even watch it all the way through. I didn't really get, like, I saw clips of it as he was showing it to other people. Probably three different people he showed it to, and I sort of got the story through it.
Well, let's not lie, the first 3 or 4 episodes are very slow.
They were raving about it, so you got to watch this. So I'm watching it, and I'm like, this is so boring.
I told you, I was like, get through the first 3 episodes, and the story literally goes from, this is interesting, not really. It's another magical girl show. Oh God, it's cutesy.
It needs so much setup. I think you gotta set it.
Yeah,
you gotta make the audience believe that it's a magical.
You gotta build it up to the fall.
Exactly, and that's the beautiful thing is like a lot of the beautiful and sad thing is a lot of people won't get into it because the first 3 episodes they're just like, oh my God, why am I even watching this? But it's like literally the reason people get into it is word of mouth. It's like people who have finished it, they're like, oh my fucking God, this was amazing. You will not even believe. And then out of curiosity, people will just be like,
it's Princess Bride syndrome. It's the bait and switch. See, it focuses, the whole strategy of it being successful is the bait and switch. You get in and you think, oh, this is going to be la la la, let's go fight the monsters. And then it's not. It's like, when you watch Princess Bride, you're like, oh, this is going to be one of those princess fantasies. Well, and then it's not.
Even the Fred Savage character in that movie says, this is just a love story.
It makes the jokes of it.
It makes the, yes.
And it definitely does take a different tactic towards pulling the reader in a much longer game than say like something like Dead Man Wonderland, where in the first 10 minutes an entire classroom is fucking dead,
massacred.
Totally. It's
so
like,
good, by the way.
It's upfront honest. It's like that's what this is. It is unfair. It is brutal. It is dark. Madoka, the whole reason it was so effective at this, brutality and its seriousness was that
you learn to care for the character.
Yeah, I mean, it's not insanely gory. At no point is it like insanely gory, but somehow you still feel
you gotta learn to love the characters because
it.
you gotta learn to lose as well as the characters in the show.
Yeah.
If you didn't care about these characters, you'd be like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, but the thing is they do so well at making you fall in love with each
That's
character.
Why
even the characters that you, at the beginning, just like, oh, this person's fucked up. Why would I ever like them,
That's why the first 3 are so boring, is because you gotta learn to... You gotta live through their lives, kind of get through the routine.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, even by the end of the movie, I felt sorry for Kyubey at points.
Really?
Yeah, I mean...
I always felt bad for Kyubey.
No, Kyubey is a sick...
He's a reaper. He's a
not
tiny reaper.
He's not sick or twisted at all.
I know.
He's a tiny reaper. He's a little reaper cat.
He is... Okay, no. I mean, his logic
and when
is
I say
very
reaper,
sound.
I don't mean Soul Reaper. I mean Reaper from Mass Effect.
Oh my God, it's true.
Yeah.
It is.
Honestly, he's not villainous. He doesn't have evil intent. He's
well, it's just logical.
It's his job. He punches in. He goes. Because
he's an alien.
He convinces little girl.
He milks
little girl to throw their lives away.
All he does.
Here's some candy.
He's those robots.
Here's some candy, little girl. Come into my white windowless van where nobody can hear you scream.
But for him, they're all just cows.
He's an alien.
He milks the cow, and he takes the pail to the farm.
Exactly. And he can get attached to the cow if he wants to.
Yeah, he can give it names and talk to it.
Yeah.
But
at the end of the day, it's a cow.
They're an Energizer Bunny. They're the humans in Matrix,
The parallel to Mass Effect is they go through cycles.
Yeah.
So that's why I always thought of him as a Reaper.
The little tiny Reaper.
Imagine Harbinger's voice coming out of that.
God damn it. Anyway.
Not as effective as the P2 one, I'm going to be honest.
Cube8, I don't know.
No.
Like I said, a lot of your judgments will be altered a bit by the movie, so you should watch
1 minute.
that too.
Let's go into likes and dislikes. Carlos, is there anything you dislike about this anime?
It's his favorite.
There's not more episodes, but I'm totally okay with that.
If there is more, you might not like it.
I don't know, because,
you get
26
movies.
26 over 12.
It is an amazing series, and deep down, I know it would be terrible if it was longer, but you still crave it. You still want more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem, That for me, it's like, the only thing I can honestly say is like, I want more, but it's not a bad thing, The fact that they cut it off was probably a good thing, but
because
they told their story.
And there technically is more, but I'll talk with y'all about that later. It's
very meta.
It's by the same writers, and it's technically in the same universe. It's not Modoka though.
Okay, Chris.
Honestly, I will say. Like I said, the first time I watched it, I kind of only watched bits and pieces and eventually caught up. The last, 4 episodes, I finally, got to the point, and I'd seen the art style, seen everything, and I was like, wow, this is actually really well done. And for me to actually sit down and watch something for a long period of time is practically impossible. So I watched those last 4 episodes, and that was damn satisfying.
Yeah.
At the end of that last episode, I was just like, that was good.
Yeah.
And then I watched the movie. And it left that feeling in the pit of my stomach. And I will say, though the movie is amazing, and I think everyone should go watch it, because I know even the people that have watched the TV series haven't seen the movie yet. Mm-hmm. A lot of them go watch it right now. I tell you right now.
It's the third movie. There's technically 3 movies.
It's not dubbed, is it?
Huh?
The movie isn't
not
dubbed.
Yet.
Not yet. Once it is...
so there's 3 movies.
There's 3 movies, but the first 2 are literally the entire series.
And they do that a lot in
anime. Which is nice if you don't have time to watch the whole series.
Which,
if you haven't seen the whole series, I really hope you're not listening to this right now.
Kill yourself, no. Joking.
No, never do that.
If you don't want to,
we don't condone killing of oneself.
Disclaimer.
Unless you have Dragon Balls and you can bring yourself back.
Yeah. Ooh.
If you do have Dragon Balls, though, you should bring.
We've learned something from Dragon Balls.
I have one.
There's one right there.
We have the 4-star ball on the mantle. So,
but
Joseph's
if you
ball.
haven't seen it yet, and if you don't have time, and you don't think you're dedicated to watch the entire series, watch the movie. Or watch the first 2 movies. It'll give you that thing, and it'll let you know if you want to go back.
Does those 3 first episodes go faster when you watch the movie?
Actually, yeah, they cut.
It cuts a lot of the.
Oh, really? Does
it doesn't quite have this.
They cut out a lot of stuff, but specifically they actually in the movies they try and make it more less obvious about Cube8. From what I've heard, I haven't actually seen
cut the startup build up before the reveal. It is still a good distance before the reveal, and it's still it's 4 hours instead of 20.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. Real fast. What was the feeling you got after the movie?
After the movie, it left a bad taste in my mouth. That's the best way to explain it.
Did it ruin the series for you, or
it didn't
just
ruin
the
the
movie?
Series. It ruined the feeling I had at the end of the series. It was
disagree.
You left on a high point, and then you got to the movie.
It's like the reverse stinger. It's like and I'm gonna plug for this one more time because Ananatsu, if you haven't seen, is amazing, and I think a lot of people should give it a shot.
That one left a bad taste in my mouth.
No, because the stinger, it's a stinger at the very end. It does have that kind of then the stinger brings everything around and makes it okay again.
See, but that didn't make it okay for me.
It made it okay.
All right.
This one doesn't.
Have you seen the?
It makes you, and like I said, Carlos had the other feeling. I saw the movie and I was upset. Not throwing tables.
You liked the movie, right?
I liked the movie. I did. It was amazing, but it wasn't like I was like, oh, you fucked it up.
Have you seen the Evangelions?
No. I've seen bits and pieces.
Okay, because they kind of do the same thing where they recap the whole series in a movie, and then the second movie is all the end.
Yeah,
and that one's kind of jarring like that, like you're talking about, where it could leave a bad.
It does get jarring.
You go on your.
No, it's Joseph's turn.
He hasn't seen the movie.
Oh. But no, as the series.
Like the parts that you may not have liked.
I would say the what's the blue?
Sayaka,
yeah.
Sayaka Miki.
Part on the train is really jarring.
Oh my god! Yeah, where the full mental break.
The final part of her whole arc.
Yeah.
Very especially if she's like your favorite character, you get to that point, you're just like, oh no.
Like,
watch the movie, bro.
But it's just
actually, for me, her highest point was the mind break on her last witch hunt. That one.
I don't know.
Where
like
she's just
that one was like the leaving the crystal far away. Like is that what you're talking about? When it goes away on a train because it was on top of that train and then
she's
was it in a car?
The train part. There's like a
when she's talking with the guys.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
That's what I was thinking. But there's that other scene where I don't know where they put, but they placed her soul crystal, and I thought it was on a train or something, and the train was driving away.
Yeah, I thought
that scene was pretty. Like that one was like.
Oh no, where Modoka threw it, and it landed into a truck.
In a truck.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I was fine with that. It's just that train part is jarring because it's so different than the rest of the whole anime.
And you kind of realize you finally realize at what place she is now, in her state of mind. She questions her.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
She completely questions why she even did this in the first. She completely had forgotten. It's like, why did I do this?
Exactly.
What am I trying to save? Is this world even worth saving?
Yeah, because it's not, it's not that fairy tale line. Because these are all, these are junior high or high school girls.
Yeah.
They've got these very naive, optimistic views of the world, and she realizes, she's on the train and there's thugs, and you realize this is still, a city, a bustling city with those kind of people, and you realize it's not always
like, who am I saving? Am I saving these fucking dickwads, basically?
Exactly. Yeah, you realize the city, the world is not the drummed up place they had imagined. It's literally
the two guys talking about his girl. The one guy talking about his girlfriend.
Yeah, and it's it's literally it's a perfect thing for like the whole coming of age story where you realize the world isn't as innocent as you thought, and that's literally the last.
Yeah, because anything that would have happened to her in like the witch's world would have been expected. Like,
but the fact that
even if someone just died, you'd be okay with it.
But to find that kind of evil in humans as well.
Yeah.
One thing I don't like about that kind of like thought process is like a superhero. Why am I doing this if there's still scum like this? Because there is so much more good
out there.
Yeah.
True, but she's also reached this point where,
Well, yeah, you're jaded as hell now.
Every good thing that she has done has only made things worse and worse.
It's the classic.
But I'm in the mindset, I've always been this way, of always looking on the brighter side.
Well, why don't you like Superman? Because he is that character.
Because he's okay. This is for later. I will say, don't... I'll say this. Yes. Okay, we'll do that another time. I'll have a whole podcast about this, about why Superman is a horrible character.
No,
but we'll come back to that. We'll talk.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say, Sayaka's perfect. The last thing she says to Kyoko is like literally sums up everything perfectly to me. Is she was like, Kyoko, you were right. This is exactly how the world is. Everything's got to balance out. Everything goes back to zero. For as much good as I did, I cursed that much more. For all the lives I saved, how I destroyed that many more.
It's just like, and I will agree. I will agree with you, Jared. I think. Sorry, my nose running. I think it is. It's rough when you see them at that breaking point where they just don't care anymore. And it is. Yeah. It's it's the superhero conundrum. You get worn down eventually. Spider-Man fighting all the enemies Batman over and over with the Joker. You get that point where you're like, why should I keep trying? Why should I keep
it's a
caring?
pile up of the bad.
It's something that, and it's the way it is. I'm trying to find the words and they're not coming. They're like going back inside my brain.
They went into the past and they stopped you from learning those words.
Hamura came back and she's like,
it's the point that the viewers hate the most, but it's also the most enthralling. Yes. So from a viewer's perspective, I'm like, oh, I hate this so much because it's you're like, you want to see them triumph, you want to see them continue to be the good guy.
Yeah.
But from a writing perspective, from a designing standpoint, it's genius because it hooks you and it gives you that emotional feel that you may not have got otherwise.
I do understand the point of it. Like
does it make me sound terrible if I totally enjoy the mind breaks? That's what drives
Carlos,
these anime for me though. I really like the mind breaks make it for me.
So like I said, I agree with Jared. It does, but the fact that it does that so well is, I think, what makes that actually an exceptional part of the movie.
Yes,
I hate it because Sayaka was my favorite.
Yeah,
and I was like,
she's like the Spider-Man, like you were saying, and
all right, Chelsea, did you have anything else
that I didn't like?
Yeah,
I don't remember the music.
It's very almost like lullaby music.
Well, which makes sense, but like the opening and ending, I don't remember.
It's not. I'll be honest with you. It's nothing memorable.
I totally remember every fucking song.
It was like orchestral.
I loved it.
The only music that stood out was in the movie.
Yeah, the movie.
Maybe it was the movies that I'm remembering because
the movie's music was like
amazing.
They really brought it like.
Yeah. It was the same group too, because it was the Magical Quartet group.
I was in the room when they were watching it. I was watching Silver Spoon, one of the best animes ever, but
really good, really good.
But I could tell the music was really good in the action.
Yeah, though I didn't really appreciate the stuff in the anime and stuff. But that one, they actually spawned their own, they would go and they would play the music from the show to live audiences. So obviously there was something about it, but it's. Again, it's classical, and I just my ear is just like, oh, classical.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Music.
Well, I mean, it fits it. It's not. I'm gonna put it on my phone.
Of course, especially with Sayaka and what's his face?
The pianist. I don't remember his name.
He's not a pianist. He's a
violin player. Yeah, violin player.
Oh, the kid.
Yeah.
Kids these days.
In his
hands.
Something
Kamijo.
I hate that guy.
He wasn't that good.
That's one of the things. I was like, man, why is Sayaka so with this guy? He's a dick.
He is.
He's a little shit.
She was entranced by his
music.
The idea.
The fact that he was a prodigy, and he was just such high and specific.
She was a preteen girl.
Yeah.
And he was hot.
Yeah.
He was hot, though. I mean, think about it.
Anything else, Justin?
No.
Okay. All right. For the series, I will say my dislikes, first off, is the first 4 episodes. It's very slow.
3.
No, I'm going to go 4.
No, because...
Yeah, because the twist in 4 is pretty close to the end.
Yeah.
That was the 3rd episode. That's the third.
That's the third.
Okay. I thought it was 4.
Right. Sorry. It's your anime, I'm sorry. The second thing that really bugged me is the whole Soul Gym. And how Sayaka reacted to the soul. How all of them reacted. They still retain their soul.
Oh,
but the fact that it's not inside their body... Which people, by the way, some people don't even believe in a soul. Some people just believe
for me, especially in the Japanese culture, it's like defiling it because, it's not a part of you anymore. And that's the big thing about it, is the fact that something ripped their soul from their body and encased it, touched it, violated it, and
I know why they I know why too is because he didn't even tell him about it.
Exactly.
That was the whole thing. Yes.
And even Kyoko says, like, she's just like, oh, I'm really, you know what? Now that I think about it, I don't even really care. What was I doing with it before? It's like, see, actually, it doesn't bother me.
That would be my reaction. I'm like, it's still with me. I have it no matter what.
Kyoko's reaction.
See, for me, I gotta agree. I wouldn't actually mind. I think I'd be more bothered by the fact that technically my body is a zombie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm dead. But the me caring eventually would turn to me like, badass.
I can't fucking die.
And Kyubey puts it in a way that, like, this is more protection for you.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be fighting these witches. And if your soul was in your body, you'd be dead.
The logic there, and also this goes back to the fact that they're little girls, naive. You know, they don't know if that means that their soul's never going to pass on. They don't know. They don't know what the fact. You know, they think it's been ripped out of my body. My soul is now useless to me.
Yeah.
I will never get it back. I literally sold my soul to this creature. And that's
they just gave me a memento to remember that I don't have it.
Exactly. Like, literally, and that's how I feel like they would be seeing it, you know? It's like, especially the way Sayaka talks, you know? She talks as if she's completely defiled. She cannot, like, when she's talking about what's-his-face, she's saying that I cannot hold him, I cannot love him. Yeah. How can I ever hold him with this... Well,
for me, it was just like
corrupted body.
They retain their bodies into a state where it still looks like you're alive. It's not like you're decaying.
And you still have your soul. You still have your personality. You're still
exactly.
You
so for
are
me,
the soul.
Logically, I agree. For me, it wouldn't bother me one fucking bit.
You can understand where she has that. You know, she has a different response.
I can understand.
Extreme.
Yeah. That's exactly my point. Like, you know, I understand her point and I understand mine. I just don't like the whole overreaction to it.
Yeah. Like, I think if they were going to have that kind of reaction, they could have made it maybe a bigger issue. Like, their bodies are decomposing.
Exactly.
It's not their soul anymore. They're something.
Or they're not going to pass on after this.
Well, they're not.
They're not. They're going to become witches.
They're going to become witches.
She didn't know that before.
Yeah. That's true, but I mean, at the same time, they're scared of They're more scared of just the thought of it. You know.
Yeah. It's kind of like.
It's like just because, you know, it logically it makes sense, and, you know, at that point you're not thinking logically, you're scared. You're like,
it's kind of like
what is happening
in the movie The Abyss, where they have to learn how to breathe water.
I've never seen that.
Well, what? That's the only memorable part of that whole movie is that they have to learn how to breathe water, and that would freaking scare you if you had to do that.
Can they breathe water?
It's not water. It's like what do you call it? Embryonic
you know that fluid you can breathe?
Oh, yeah. They actually have it.
Yeah. But you think you're breathing water, but it's fluid.
Yeah, because it feels fucking wrong. Like it's choking.
Yeah. And now, that was my whole gripe about the series. Not much.
Really, yeah, it's not.
Okay. See, that's not that bad at all.
But for the movie, I'm in the middle between Chris and Carlos. It didn't leave a bad taste in my mouth, and I saw where it was going. I knew that would probably be the outcome of this character. I'm not going to spoil it for you because you need to see it.
Yeah.
But
the movie, you have to see. If you watch the series, you have to see.
But I see why that happened.
I'm waiting for the dub.
I'm waiting for the dub. I'm telling you, it's good.
We'll read it out to you as it's going on.
I'll voice act the
I
whole
always
thing.
offer that to him when he doesn't want to watch a sub.
Dibs on playing Kyoko. I have a better bitch voice.
No, hell no. I'm Kyoko.
I'm Kyubey.
I'm Kyubey. Come on.
But anyway, the movie, great. Art is great. Music, wonderful.
Yes. Even better, both of those, even better than the TV series. It's like...
The TV series did amazing.
It's gorgeous.
The movie, even better.
They had a budget.
And it's
they had a budget.
The skill was there for the original thing, but you could tell they had the budget and the time to make it.
And it was even like...
If there's anybody still listening that still doubt this, know this. It sold out in Japan for 3 months.
Not as much as Frozen, but
it sold out in all movie theaters in Japan.
In ways, it's almost like a short series because a shorter version of the series because it starts off pretty lighthearted, and then it just gets to this point like. how did it get to this?
Yeah, it's like,
this isn't too spoilerific. I'm going to try to avoid being spoilerific, especially with the movie, because, this is more of people who've seen the series, not series and movie. But it definitely, and it does, it's...
Sorry.
I forgot where I was going. It is. It's got this, at the beginning, especially considering how the TV series ends, the beginning, it's a lot like the beginning of the first show. Knowing what you know at the end of the TV show is just like going back and watching the first episode. You notice all this stuff. It seems off to you. You watch the beginning of the movie and you're like, wait a minute.
Oh, that's the thing that really...
It's echoing the show.
Yeah, and Carlos was trying to point it out to me because I'd only seen the series kind of half of one time when I saw the movie.
Yeah.
And even I was like, okay, yeah, no, this isn't right.
Yeah, no, that was the beautiful thing about it. You're sitting there like...
And it does it because
what?
It's so...
Wait, that doesn't...
Yeah,
what?
Because it is. It's so cheerful and it's upbeat, but at the same time, you're like, this is wrong. Just because...
so wrong!
Because of the way everything ended, you're like, this can't possibly end well.
This can't possibly be.
I can see why you have such a bad taste in your mouth. Because at the end of this, you're just like... It's dread. Like, you're like, why did this have to happen? Why did this have to get so bad?
I don't feel that way.
And now you want to punt Cube.
It never made me feel that way.
For me, like, literally, the ending of the movie took me to that point where...
Final resolution?
Yes, it all makes sense. Everything back into balance. Everything the way it should be. The way the story was meant to, really play out. That's how I viewed it, It's like it reached this point in the series, it needs to reach here. Yin-yang kind of thing,
Carlos, real fast, is there going to be anything more? Like another movie or anything?
The creators actually have suggested a possible a fourth movie.
If completely F's with the movie, would that upset you?
I mean, no, it can't really...
It's still more to the cycle. Like, the end of the movie was the ending of a cycle, or the end of the TV show was the end of a cycle. The movie was another cycle. A fourth movie
would just be another cycle.
Would be another cycle. I think it would just be another possible resolution.
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like Sword Art Online where you're like, why did this have to get so bad?
No. Doesn't turn into a giant shadow beast and kill everything.
That's another podcast. Because again, I'm mad.
Angry
That's
podcast.
another level of me bitching. Because I actually literally that jumped the shark moment right after they started the second. I stopped watching it when I saw it.
Yeah, so did we.
Again, one more time. Sword Art would be good if it ended at that hospital.
The hospital scene is so good.
I actually do.
That would be a very good ending. That would be a good anime.
I've almost created the false illusion in my head that is the end of the series.
That's the end of Sword Art.
That's what I've had to do.
I tell myself that every time.
And when I see like Sword Art 3, that's stupid.
Somebody's making a parody.
It ended. What? Abridged?
Well, since we're kind of wrapping up here, we should say our final thoughts on the show. I think if I had to rate it, I know Carlos is top 10.
Yeah.
Carlos would be let's flat 10.1.
Yeah, I think I'd be an 8 around there.
Chris,
I would probably put an 8.5. Like I said, I'm very picky. I'm not much of an anime person traditionally. I tend to just watch the ones that really pull me in, and it didn't pull me in at first. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I'm not going to give it a perfect score. But
you definitely had to work for it.
I had to work for it. But I will say, when I did finally actually give it that shot, I was greatly rewarded. I'll give it an 8.5, just because it does. By the end of it, it makes the whole series worth it.
Yeah. What I'd give it probably what Chris gave is a 5.8.
8.5.
Or 8.5. No, I'm going 5. No.
Dyslexic.
No, I give it an 8.5. With me, what was surprising is I did hear all the hype. I did.
It was, yeah.
Everyone was saying, "Oh man, this is so good! Like great ending, great anime." And usually when I hear hype for movies or anything, and I see it, I'm like, "Oh, I'm looking good." Yeah. Oh, this sucks.
It's one of those things, especially nowadays. You kind of have to have for me at least, the opposite effect occurs. Whenever I hear hype, I automatically expect less out of the movie. So it's not going to be good as people said it was.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Yeah.
And this was one of the few ones that actually was as good as Carlos was saying. Granted, Carlos had only seen it, I think, once or twice by that point. He was like, "Oh, it's really good. It's amazing." It's not gotten to the point where he's telling everybody about it. And anything for it to be amazing enough that somebody literally watches it 9 times, showing a different person each time, just so that he can spread it about. There's something in there, you know.
And the fact that we could talk almost 2 hours about it, or wherever we're at about it, and we still have things to say. Yeah. It's pretty incredible.
I still talk about it to this day.
Yes, we know.
We noticed you.
Not to y'all, to myself.
Anyway, Carlos, final thoughts. What would you rate this?
Do you really have to ask?
No, we already.
I kind of gave it 40.
Yeah, we did.
20.
20 off the 10.
So 20 out of 10. I just can't personally find anything wrong with it. It literally hit every point that I love. You know,
in anime,
I can give it one negative thing in comparison to another show. To my all-time favorite show has what you'd like to call the Love Octagon. It didn't have that. There's no Love Octagon.
There's no love.
There is love, actually.
Bullshit. Never mind.
They're so young. They can't have love. Yo. They got puppy dog.
Anyway, I think that's.
You obviously did not listen to Homona.
Although the movie does have a very interesting couple in it. That I will say I wholeheartedly support just because I think they make a very cute couple.
Yeah. I do like that too.
A very non-traditional cute couple. It's like, wait, okay.
Anyway, we're probably going to wrap this up. It's getting a little long. Yeah. But thanks for listening. This is Coneheads. Mm-hmm. Thank you for listening to our Modoka podcast. Please, we're part of Select Your Player, so go to Facebook, Select Your Player. Please like us. We're on YouTube. Please subscribe to us.
Probably where you're watching it, actually.
Yes. I'm on Twitter, Jared Ariano at coneheads.com.
Yeah,
tweet us with suggestions of anime to watch or a podcast or anything like that.
Yeah. We love suggestions for anime.
We love conversation about anime.
Yes, obviously.
We're sorry for not doing a podcast in quite a while. We'll try to fix that and try to do a little more.
It's
coming
been a
up.
very dry few.
Yes. I'll try not to force my way into it next
time. I was just about to say thanks for joining us, Chris.
Yeah, thanks.
Brought a lot of good points to the conversation. Well, guys, thank you for listening.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.